Thank you everyone for joining. We'll just give everyone maybe another minute or so to join. Okay, and then we should start in about a minute. Thank you for your patience. So I think we can get started. First of all, thank you for attending today's webinar, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on where you are in the world. Uh, we're going to talk about how we can transform customer experience in lending with the help of digitization, to boost revenue, lower costs, and increase market share. We're going to talk about a lot of fun things. And to discuss this topic, we're going to talk about some trends in lending first. Then we'll talk about some ways in which we can transform the customer experience in lending. We'll also talk about why we think Salesforce is an ideal platform uh, for digital transformation. And then we'll talk about an application that is built on the Salesforce platform, which serves as an end-to-end solution for lending businesses. We'll also share with you some of our experience from digital transformation projects. I hope at the end of the webinar, I am sure at the end of the webinar, you'll go back and better digitize your lending business. Uh, to just give you an introduction about myself, my name is Deboshi. I, I used to work at Wall Street. I worked at Credit Suisse as an analyst. Prior to that, I used to work at National Grid in the Treasury as a credit analyst. And ever since I've been working at Marlabs, I've been at the interface of finance and technology. And I think it's been a fascinating journey for me because I just love I love finance, and I am fascinated by how technology is going to transform financial services forever. I've had the pleasure of working for a multitude of lending companies, be it online lending companies or solar lending companies or even peer-to-peer marketplaces. I even worked for a real estate crowdfunding company based out of Australia. And I'm going to share with you my journey today and about my experience working with with companies in the lending space. I also have with me Alok. Alok is a lead consultant within our fintech group. Alok, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi Deboshi, thanks for inviting me to the webinar. Hi everybody out there, I'm Alok Sharma. I have done my MBA in finance and I bring 15 years of experience of working in the financial services sector with companies like Standard & Poor's. I've also worked with ICICI Bank, which is one of the largest private sector banks in India, and I've also worked with Knight Frank, in their investment banking division. I advise fintech firms, banks, and financial institutions across the globe to help them in their digital transformation journey.
Great. Thank you, Alok. Now, a little bit about Marlabs. We at Marlabs, we have a 360-degree framework for digital transformation, and we help companies digitize their businesses. To know more about us, please feel free to visit our website. We have strategic partnerships with SAP, with Salesforce, with Cloud Lending Solutions, to name a few. We also have a partnership with Amazon Web Services. And some of our key customers are Caliber Home Loans, People's United Bank, TIAA Bank, and NASDAQ, to name a few. We've worked across different industries, and financial services is the largest vertical within Marlabs. We also have several center of excellences within Marlabs, and Salesforce is one of them. Before we start, I thought we'd take a poll just to understand where you are in your digital journey as a lending business. So the question that you have on the poll is, what parts of your lending business is digitized? You can select multiple answers if you need to. Wow, thank you for your answers. That looks very interesting. Um, it seems like most of you already have your origination, your lead generation, and lead conversion already digitized. Fewer have your loan collections uh, digitized. That's great to know. I mean, that's pretty uh, consistent with our experience and our expectations. Thank you for your poll. Before we start talking about the trends in the digital industry, I think it's important to put the industry in perspective, right? The digital lending industry in perspective. So what do we mean by digital lending? Digital lending usually refers to any loan that is originated by the means of a digital platform, uh, uh, be it for consumers or for businesses, right? What we've seen, across industries is that the higher expectations among not just millennials, but across customers across different generations. We've seen that the higher expectations among our customers and the changing preferences are causing a lot of disruption across different industries, right? And the banking industry is at the highest risk of disruption. According to autonomous research, they claim that by 2020, the loan origination volumes will reach about $100 billion. And there is a study that is done by Zion Market Research that claims that the global digitization in lending market could grow up to $83,460 billion, and it could grow at 53% compounded annually between 2017 and 2025. So this you can easily understand that this industry is going to be massive, right? That's primarily because almost all of lending is going to get digitized in the years to come. Now that we've spoken about, we have the industry perspective, I think, I'd like to talk to you about some of the trends that we have seen from our experience, right? First of all, we've seen more and more financial institutions adopt the cloud. Earlier, financial institutions, especially banks, were kind of reluctant to adopt the cloud, but now more and more financial institutions are adopting the cloud. And it's not a question about whether banks and financial institutions will adopt the cloud or not, but it's about when they will adopt the cloud. We've also seen a lot of partnerships between fintechs and banks and big technology companies. Uh, we've initially, there was a lot of competition. They looked at each other as competitors, but as the alternative lending market grew, uh, we've seen a lot of collaboration between fintechs and banks, right? And that I think that's been beneficial for the customers, for the end customers. For example, we've seen JP Morgan tie up with OnDeck, to create their platform for small and medium enterprises. We've also seen like the Apple tie up with Bank of America, Citi, and Wells Fargo for Apple Pay, right? So banks bring a lot of strengths with them. They have a large customer base. Uh, they have the trust and the loyalty of customers that they've built over 100 years. They also have great access to capital, and they also have a lot of knowledge about the regulations, right? So they bring all of that to the table, while fintechs they bring their agility, they bring their culture of innovation and the technological expertise to the table. And together, fintechs and banks have been collaborating to provide better customer service with the help of open APIs or application programming interfaces, and that as overall has been beneficial for the lending industry. Another top trend that we've seen, and it's, almost every survey has this trend as a topmost trend, is that more and more businesses are looking to create a more seamless customer journey. They want to remove all the pain points that customers face, because what we've also seen is that customers are not hesitant to jump, from one company to another, provide based on who is providing them a seamless customer experience. I think customers are doing a lot and investing a lot in this. Then we have, especially banks. We have banks who are sitting on a wealth of data, on a treasure trove of data, and they are using, analytics and artificial intelligence to build new products, to automate their underwriting and servicing processes. And then another trend that we've seen is the adoption of blockchain. Blockchain has some great qualities like its immutability, which increases or promotes transparency among lenders. It also has, it also serves as a single source of truth, which helps all stakeholders. We've seen JP Morgan, recently, use a blockchain backed service for transferring loans. Even IBM recently is doing trials for a blockchain-based trade finance solution. Now that we've talked about some of the trends, let's talk about how we can improve the customer experience in lending, right? By now, as indicated in the survey, most companies have already digitized their front-end applications, the customer-facing applications, but to provide a seamless customer journey, it's very important to digitize back office processes and create a seamless experience for customers. It's also important to remove internal silos so that it's easier to have a 360-degree view of customers. And nowadays, it's also very important to provide value-added services. And I'll give you an example as to why financial institutions need to provide value-added services. I don't know if you've heard of Kakao Talk. Kakao Talk is a widely adopted chat service in Korea. So what they did is they came out with a Kakao Bank, and they were accepting deposits and they were lending, or they were giving access to credit to people. And on the first day, they acquired 300,000 customers. And I think within a month, if I'm not wrong, they had lent out more than $230 million, just within a month. Then you also have the combination of AI and IoT. So the combination of AI and IoT, could make mobile banking and smartphone banking obsolete. You could be able to just talk and and transact or apply for a loan, right? And there are already companies that are doing that. Movin is doing that. Capital One is doing that with the help of Amazon's Alexa, right? And then with regards to customer support, we have to think beyond just FAQs and telephone numbers. We have to think about providing chat bots and interactive video-based customer service, right? And PayPal is already one example that allows you to make transactions via voice, right? And it's not only just important to provide a customer service across different channels, but so the thing is we have to allow the customer to choose the best channel for them, right? And then the similar thing is we have to provide services across different channels and let customers choose the most optimum channel for them, right? Be it for bank, for making transactions, or for applying for a loan, for any financial transactions, right? And I think another very important thing is that banks should attempt to create a continuity across channels, right? And then something that a lot of banks haven't done very well is while designing the customer experience, uh, instead of just designing by analogy, we have to rethink the design process using first principles. We have to evolve from functionality to design. I'll give an example. Like say, you want a customer to be able to make a payment, right? Instead of having them to enter the credit card number, the last four digits of the credit card number, and maybe the expiry date and the CCV code, we should allow them to just scan a QR code and make the payment, right? That's just an example of how we should rethink design and rethink design using first principles. Now, at this stage, I think we'd want to take another poll, and we want to understand if and know which platform you are using for your lending ecosystem. You'll have to make one selection. Uh, Thank you for your answers. This is interesting. Some of you, it's almost even. Some of you have a homegrown ecosystem platform. Some of you are using an off-the-shelf platform. Few are using uh, existing CRM, and some of you need one. Okay, that's great. That's great to know. Thank you for your answers. Now, let me talk to you about why we think, or why I think, that Salesforce is an ideal platform for digital transformation. Uh, you know, Salesforce is the world's #1 CRM platform, and it's also an ecosystem that provides a number of applications that can help banks digitize their lending business and achieve their goals of automation, of digitization of records, of integrations, right? And Salesforce has been a pioneer in the PaaS, or the platform as a service model. Since Salesforce is a cloud-based platform, it provides agility, it provides a flexibility and scalability to applications that are built on the Salesforce platform. And then you have the App Exchange. The App Exchange, has a multitude of applications that you could use to create an end-to-end digital lending platform. For example, it has a DocuSign, it has a Financial Force for your accounting needs. You can integrate with Yardley, for insight about customers. Now I'll talk to you about uh, one such application that is built on the Salesforce platform and that we happen to have some experience working with, right? It's called Cloud Lending Solutions. They have six major products which are built on the Salesforce on the CLS platform, which is available on the App Exchange and is built on the Salesforce platform. So the first product is a CL portal. So what a CL portal allows you to do is it allows you to customize and configure your front end customer facing portal. So with the help of customizing and configuring CL portal, you can create a front-end portal within few weeks, right? And then you have CL Originate. CL Originate is a solution, is an application for digitizing your entire origination process. And then you have CL Loan. CL Loan is an application that allows you to digitize your entire loan servicing processes. Then you have CL Marketplace. CL Marketplace allows you to digitize your entire marketplace operations if you have one. It has many features, and we can go into detail of each of these products later. Uh, and then you have a CL Lease. CL Lease is an application that allows you to digitize your leasing operations. And then it also has CL Collections. CL Collections allows you to digitize your collection processes. And together, they create an end-to-end solution, of course, with the help of integrating with third-party systems that allows you to do things like accounting and identity verification and credit check and stuff like that. Um, I'll talk to you about some of the features of cloud lending services. Uh, the thing is, cloud lending provides an end-to-end solution, like I told you earlier, right, for the entire range of lending operations, from origination to underwriting to pricing to servicing and collections, for lending, for leasing, and for marketplace operations. It is built natively on the Salesforce platform, so it leverages all the security features of Salesforce and all the other good features of Salesforce. And then it also acts as a single system of record, which helps you provide better customer service because you have access to all your customer data in one system, right? And it also has an open architecture. Uh, you can use uh, all of these applications independently, or you can use them in conjunction with each other. You can also integrate these applications with third-party systems, right? And then it's also very scalable because you can scale from a few customers to 1,000 customers or thousands of customers without much effort. Now, I'd like to talk to you about our experience working uh, uh, with one such company, a fintech company. Sunnova Energy is a leading it's a leading solar lending and leasing company in the United States. So when they came to us, they had a very troublesome pricing system in the sense like when customers wanted them to uh, they wanted to say, for example, they wanted them when customers were requesting to change the payment date for their payments, for their monthly payments, they were not able to regenerate an amortization schedule and impact all the future bills, right? So that was one of the deficiencies. It had a lot of other deficiencies. So what we did for them is we integrated CL Loan, that's the loan management system from Cloud Lending Solutions, and we integrated it with their existing Salesforce platform and all their other, other objects and other third-party systems. So now they're able to, as a result of that implementation, they're able to service their customers much more efficiently, and they have a totally automated, seamless loan management system uh, uh, and a back office operations, right? And now I'd like to invite Alok, who has worked with a large banking institution and a non-banking financial institution. I'd like to invite Alok and ask him to talk about his experience in the digital transformation of these two financial institutions. Alok, would you please share what were these projects about?
Sure, Deboshi. So for both these financial institutions which we implemented, we have actually digitalized the entire loan origination process on the Salesforce platform. That's what we've done.
Great, great. And what were the business challenges while you were transforming these two businesses?
Yeah, so again, in both these financial institutions, they had legacy processes, and therefore they wanted to digitalize their entire loan origination process, from onboarding borrowers, integration with third-party applications, building a comprehensive underwriting process, and finally onboarding the loans to the current loan management system, and thereby they wanted to actually get a competitive advantage in the market.
Great, great. And so, what was the outcome as a result of the digital transformation that you took?
Yeah, so actually it turned out as a complete game changer for both these financial institutions. With Salesforce, we have enabled, both these financial institutions with a fully automated loan origination platform by configuring a very robust business rule engine, and we have also developed a user-friendly credit underwriting dashboard. So, now the turnaround time for sanctioning a loan has been brought down from 20 days to just under 3 minutes.
Great, great. And how long did it take you to achieve this transformation?
Well, it took around 3 months. That's much it
Great,
took.
great. Thank you, Alok. And now, since we have a few minutes before we open up to question and answers, let me just summarize what we discussed today. So first, we talked about some trends in the lending industry, and then we talked about some ways in which we can transform the customer experience in lending. We also talked about why Salesforce is an ideal platform for digital transformation, and how we can build applications on the Salesforce platform. Um, and then we talked to you about one such application that is built on the Salesforce platform called Cloud Lending Solution, which serves as an end-to-end solution for lending businesses. We also shared with you some of our experience in digitally transforming some financial institutions. And now I'd like to leave you with some thoughts as you progress on your journey of digital transformation. When you're thinking of taking your customer experience to the next level, it is important to know what some of the future trends would look like in the lending industry. Uh, First, what we've seen is, with the years, we've seen a disaggregation of the distribution of financial products and the manufacturing of financial products, right? A lot of these fintechs who are very, who with the help of technology can provide a superior customer experience, have gained control of the distribution of financial products, while financial institutions like the banks were specializing or have been specializing in creating or manufacturing the financial products. But what could happen in the future is when the digital giants, like the technology platforms, the big tech companies, like the Amazons of the world, like when I'm not sure if you heard the term, the acronym FATBAG, which has been coined by Chris Skinner. FATBAG refers to Facebook, Amazon, Tencent, Baidu, and Financial and Google. If any of these companies, start manufacturing financial products, that is going to be a game changer. And Amazon is already doing that. If you just look at what they're doing with Amazon Cash, Amazon Lending, Amazon Pay, Amazon Insurance, and Bain and company, they according to one of their predictions, they predict that Amazon could uh, acquire about 70 million customers in the US, in the next 5 years. I mean, just imagine, that's massive. That's almost equivalent to what Wells Fargo has as its customer base. I mean, and which is now the third largest bank in the United States, right? Imagine if that happens. I mean, that would be just incredible. So we have to think, we have to, banks have to adapt, themselves with that in sight. We also have an ecosystem of non-traditional providers. So what will happen if the Amazons of the world, with the help of fintechs, provide all financial services to customers, right? Say some of a not very good example, but a pretty good example is what Simple has done with collaborating with Venmo and Visa and Allpoint, right? They are now primary account services company, you know. And then another trend that we could see in the future is people banking all the time, but not banking at a bank. This is a favorite quote by Brett King, right, who has authored, several books. He says that people will be banking, but not at a bank. And that could be a possibility, with companies like Ant Financial and the big tech companies coming into the picture. We've all already seen that happening. We've seen, just according to recent statistics from the FDIC, about 1,700 bank branches closed down in the year ending mid 2017, and I think about in that same time period, Bank of America and Capital One closed down around 32% of their bank branches across the United States. So that's a trend that it's already happening, and it could happen even more. As these tech platforms provide financial transactions, the capability to do financial transactions and provide financial value adds and provide non-financial services to customers. Another thing that could happen in the future, or could be a game changer, is the combination of blockchain, IoT, and AI. The when you combine the ability of blockchain, the ability of to be able to remove the uncertainty about the identity of a person, right, and its immutability, together with the ability of IoT to provide services across devices, and the intelligence and the insight that AI provides you, together you can create amazing solutions, which could be a game changer. And if you can just if you just see what BBVA is doing, they're creating some amazing customer experiences. And in the future, we also think that banking is going to become an experience. It's not going to be mundane. It's uh, uh, I mean, I don't know. I think this is too far fetched, but people are already predicting that we'll have systems where people can, just with the help of putting their attention on a need for a need for financial services. There will be intelligent robots or intelligent systems that can meet that need when that needs to be met. This is very futuristic, but that's something that might happen in another 10 years or so. But that is a possibility, and you need to be aware of this possibility as you strategize and build your digital strategy. With that, I think we have a few more minutes. We have about 15 minutes, just enough to take some question and answers. Now we'll open it to question and answers from you. Please feel free to type the questions in the text box. I see some questions already. So the question is, how long does it usually take for you to execute a project? Good question. That really depends. It could take anywhere between 3 months to a year. It all depends on your requirements. If you want to just digitize a certain part of your business, maybe collections, it could take even lesser time, right? But yeah, Alok, what has been your experience? Could you please share your experience about how long it could take for executing a project?
Yeah, Deboshi, quite similar. In my last couple of implementations, actually from kickoff to go live, it took around 3 months.
Great, great. 3 months, I think, is a pretty lean time to digitally transform a business. Thank you, Alok. So there's another question, and the question is, how do you see PSD2 type regulations impact lending? Well, I think it will definitely create a very competitive environment in lending. Since fintechs are going to get access to customer data, uh, that was the sole property of banks. They are going to be able to better underwrite and price financial products and loans. Um, but I think overall it's going to benefit the customer, the end customer. I think we've also seen similar, not regulations, but similar uh, um, guidelines by the Consumer Finance Protection Board in the U.S. that have hinted at banks that have not explicitly but hinted at banks to let open up their APIs or open up their customer data. Uh, I hope that answered your question. So the next question that we have is, you talked about banks and fintechs and technology platforms partnering with each other. What are some of the ways they are partnering with each other? That's a great question. I didn't go into detail as to what are the ways or what are some of the ways. Uh, but yeah, so some of the ways that fintechs and banks are collaborating, right, is like I'll give an example. The example that I had taken, I've taken the example of JP Morgan using OnDeck's technology platform, to build a lending, platform for small and medium enterprises, right? So banks are adopting these SaaS products or solutions from technology fintech companies, right? Um, and using that to create a better customer experience for their customers. Another way that banks and fintechs are collaborating is that banks are purchasing the assets that are being originated by fintechs, right? We've seen that happen, even with some of our clients, right? So there is this bank that we're working with, and they are purchasing loans that are originated by a small fintech company, right? Then we've also seen, banks refer customers to fintechs, and we've also seen it happen the other way around. Um, uh, like sometimes when customers come to banks and uh, they are beyond their credit parameters, they refer them to fintech companies, right? Um, yeah, I hope that answered your question. And I think I can give you another example of how fintechs and banks are collaborating. I think I gave you the example of Apple, how Apple is collaborating with Wells Fargo and Citi. BBVA, right? I think I took that example. BBVA is collaborating with Bancorp and Visa, right? And Allpoint and Venmo, Then we also have Google and Google tying up with Lending Club, right? So we've seen a lot of collaboration happening, and I think overall it's good for the industry. So the next question is, what are the security features of Salesforce? Well, Salesforce is absolutely secure. I mean, there has never ever been any news about Salesforce being hacked in the last 20 years of its existence. Salesforce provides multiple security features, including the TLS 1.2, which allows you to securely transmit information or data between systems. And it also has shield protection for encrypting and storing data within the Salesforce platform. So the next question is, could you please talk about the APIs available for integration that are provided by Salesforce? Sure, sure. Rather technical question, but great that it's coming from the audience. Um, Salesforce offers multiple APIs for different business needs. It provides bulk APIs for asynchronous communication if you want to communicate in batches. It provides REST and SOAP APIs for synchronous communication if you want to talk to another system in near real time. Then it also has industry-specific APIs for the financial services industry in financial services cloud. And then, yeah, and Salesforce also supports OAuth 2.0 protocol to create a secure connection between two systems. And Salesforce, yeah, I think I'd also like to add that Salesforce, allows data transfer in multiple formats, CSV, XML, and JSON. And some of you might be thinking, does it support Excel, right? Yeah, there are applications available on the App Exchange that does that for you. It allows you to transfer data from Excel into Salesforce, and then from Salesforce to some other system. So another question that we have is, what kind of reports does Salesforce offer? Well, as long as the data is available in Salesforce, you can generate reports, and there are tons of out-of-the-box reports that are available. Um, and even all the products that are built on the Salesforce platform, has their customized their out-of-the-box reports. And then, of course, you can also customize reports and create reports based on whatever you need. So as long as the data is there in Salesforce, you can generate reports out of it. Yeah, and I think we have another question. The question is, can you please share your experience with the real estate crowdfunding company you talked about? Sure, sure. I'll let Alok take that question. Alok, would you like to take that question?
Sure, Devoshi. So, yeah, actually, this was for one of our clients in Australia. Actually, in fact, it was Australia's first marketplace platform, in mortgage finance and fund management, with a focus on underwriting quality property loans. So what they needed, was a lending solution for serving the marketplace with dynamic interactions between both the borrower side as well as the investor side. So we completely automated their loan disbursement and repayment process. We had very nice features of secondary market, uh, and also an auto invest functionality, and also the investment portfolio management, which we used doing using the lending's product suite.
Great, thank you, Alok. Um, I see some questions about cloud lending solutions. There are people who are asking if they could see the product. Yes, we can definitely do that for you. We'll be sending you a survey at the end of the webinar, and you can express whether you want to see a demo of the product. It usually takes about an hour or two, to give you a good overview or a good demo of all the features, or not all the features, but a good amount of the features of cloud lending solutions. And another question that I see is, do you provide consulting services? Yes, we do provide consulting services. We provide technology consulting services. We're not a consulting company per se, but we provide technology consulting. And with our experience in the lending industry, we work with the big fours. We work with Boston Consulting Group. In some of our projects where they served as a consulting partner, and we were the technology consultants come implementation partner. We have time for another, I think, one last question. The question is about our Salesforce practice. Uh, how large is your Salesforce practice, and what are some of the brands that you worked on uh, with Salesforce? Okay, yeah, we have a pretty large Salesforce practice. We're more than 100 people strong. We've worked with some of the biggest brands across the world. We've worked with Merck. We've worked with NASDAQ, like I told you earlier. We've worked with Caliber Home Loans. We've worked with TIAA Bank in the financial services industry. We've done, really large projects. We've worked with People's United Bank too, and we worked across the world. Not just in the United States. We've worked with a UK fintech-based company. We've worked with Thailand peer-to-peer lending company. We've also worked with um, Australian lending companies. So we have quite a lot of experience in the Salesforce ecosystem, and we have an in-house a group of consultants and developers and senior developers. Uh, you know, yeah, I think we just had time for that last question, and we are up with time. So thank you for taking the time. Thank you for taking the time to attend today's webinar. I hope you found it useful. I'm sure you found it useful, and I hope this the insight and some of the value that you've received in this webinar will help you better digitize your business. And if you would like to talk to us post this webinar, please feel free, not just to complete the survey, but feel free to drop us an email and contact us, and we can definitely continue this conversation post this webinar. Thank you once again. Have a good day and good night, depending on where you are in the world.